Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We are in the February buyers edition. We're here with Mr. Tim Sisson. Sir, how are we doing today? Are we warming up at all? Thawing at all?
Happy Valentine's Day, Billy. Yes, I certainly am. That 50-degree day or even high 40s, it felt like a sauna outside after what we've been experiencing. So I don't remember this type of weather in Maryland and any other part of my life, really.
No, the ice is really what threw me off. And once the ice like solidifies and got like one of those days where like 6 and 5 and 4, those great. Once it's solid, it's going to be there for a while because it's hard to get rid of that thick of ice.
Yeah, I mean, you're from Erie, Pennsylvania, so you've probably heard us complain about
Yeah.
cold in the past, and you're like, you ain't seen nothing yet. We had a stretch where I'm like, man, this is non-Maryland weather. This feels
Yeah.
like
Brutal.
northern PA weather.
Yeah, I came down here to get away from that garbage. Like this is supposed to be nice and warm. My parents actually snowbird, right? They've been in Florida for the last like month or so. But back home, they were watching the weather. It was like -10, -12 a few of those days. Like it got stupid cold in those Lake Erie areas. Oh my gosh, Buffalo, those areas, it got really cold.
Let me ask you this: as a
Thank you.
growing up in cold weather, and also you're a real estate agent, the spigot bibs that they sell, do those work?
No, not really. I mean,
Okay.
no, not really. Because I mean, the inside is where it freezes, so you just got to keep the house kind of
Yeah.
warm. Like you
It's
just
like
got
a
to make
little
sure you have
glove.
no water in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you have no water in the spigot. Make sure you have it turned off and everything. If you can, turn it off from the inside of the house and open it up and let all the water out. Because that's
Yeah.
where, I mean, obviously the water expanding is when it got bad. I have the
Mhm.
Airbnb down in North Beach and the pipes froze 3 times already this year. I had to go down there and I have pipe warmers that we had to turn on.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
no fun.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully we're out of the weeds on
Yeah.
that. I would hope.
I hope so. I hope so. All right. So let's get into the information. So again, a reminder of the format. We have 2 minutes per topic. The last one's a little more fun, but we have real estate topics, things that are going on right now that are really relevant to what's happening. So we want to educate and make sure our buyers are the best buyers in the market because we want them to know what's going on and the trends. So Tim, are you ready for the questions?
I'm ready to go, my friend.
All right, let's start with the first one. I see signs that the market, especially the listings, are starting to pick up. What are you seeing on your end?
I do feel that. The tough part is that, we get these reports about existing home sales and things of that sort. Those are national reports. I
Yeah.
think for you and me, when we have these
Tough.
discussions, we're thinking more of a feel, and it's regional. Um, every January, I have a lot of activity in terms of buyers that are getting ready. And then
Yep.
sometimes it's a lot of hurry up and wait. I came to your office, we talked about numbers, I got your pay stubs, and then we're just waiting for that perfect house to come on the market. But I think I'm having more conversations with those types of people, and they are more active earlier than in the past couple of years, where they're just waiting for rates to fall or what have you. And then people have realized that this is what we have
Yeah.
in terms of affordability, and you just got to go find a house, really.
Yeah. So I think the data is we had 22% more listings this so far this year than the previous month in December. So the number of listings is definitely upticking. I got a lot more buyers. There's, like you said, out just kind of kicking tires. Like, hey, what's it look like? How do I do this? A handful of them are the own houses, and they're ready to make that step up and get a bigger house. And there's like, how do I prepare for this? How do I get things ready? So I think January and most of February is going to be a lot of preparedness. Like how do I get myself situated? What kind of repairs do I have to do? What kind of things should I be looking for? And yeah, right now I think it's a lot of people that are looking for the perfect house. And if the perfect house come across the board, then they'll do it. But they're probably going to hold on and see what else comes out because we all have that feeling that springtime is going to bring another rush of listings. That's always like the feeling we have. And so a lot of people are like, let's just see what else comes out, that kind of feeling.
I've said to somebody even as recently as today is there isn't a huge spring boom in inventory like there has in previous years. So it might be a little bit more spread out than historically what we've seen.
Yeah, I think that's all as well. But I don't think no, so the next question is a little bit tougher. So the affordability, the prices of houses haven't changed too much. I am seeing some decreases, but affordability is still pretty high up. What are we looking at as far as the buyers you're running into?
Affordability is two-pronged. Yeah, one is sort of that monthly carryover of housing expense. Can I afford a, let's say, $3,000 mortgage payment? Yes or no? And people
Yeah.
are very in tune to, if I want this type of house for my family, I think it's going to cost me X amount monthly, because we had those consultations. We set the expectation. The other prong of it is, do I have enough cash for the down payment and the closing costs? And I think we have so many products that help with closing costs and down payment, that part's been solved. And or we've had discussions with these people about what it would take to purchase that house that they've had time to save and put it in savings. So as soon as we see that 1/4 to 3/8% improvement in interest rates, which we have over the last several weeks, all of a sudden the affordability piece gets better. Not the best, but it gets better, and it pushes people out to actually transact. So I think that piece is getting better. It's not quite where we need it to be. We keep seeing the term affordability crisis, but we're on the right track, in my opinion.
So the tough part is lots of, not all, but lots of the people selling homes right now are boomers, and more of the boomers don't have to sell the house. Like, they are a very patient group of people, and they want a certain amount of money to walk out the door with. And I'm seeing a few of my sellers and a few of the people I'm working with in that scenario. The only people that are a little more time crunched are the ones that are buy-ups. Like, I have the house. I'm going to use that equity to buy that next house. I need this to transact. I don't mind if I drop it a little bit. And so that's where we're seeing these price decreases. I think coming through my MLS, I probably see 3 to 5 house decreases coming through every week. And I think those are the ones that are like ready to make that next step. But boomers are also going to throw us off a little bit. And so the affordability is going to be a weird balance again for a little while here, because if you're thinking about, like, I'm a boomer, this is my retirement money, I saw my neighbor just sold his house for this much, I think it can be sold for that much, I'm just going to hold on until I get that number. It's going to make it for interesting buyers. And if you find a house at the right price, you may have to jump on it.
There's a bit of stubbornness amongst that sort of age group, I would say. Yeah. I had one recently where the buyer's agent presented comps. The house was definitely overpriced. It had been on the market for over 40 days. And he just stuck to his number because, you know, that's just kind of sometimes what that generation does. And again, he wasn't forced to sell. So he wasn't going to sell unless he got his number, period.
And that's, so we said that as a buyer, you have to find the right seller. There's a perfect seller for you out there. And that's the moral of the story. Find the right person in the right scenario. AI in real estate. I hate this, is such a cliche topic, and I hate to put it out there, but it's relevant. I mean, it's what kind of resources, what kind of things are you talking to your people about as far as AI to help them get ready?
Honestly, I'm slow to adopt. I'll just be completely honest with you. I think it's for me, it's a stubborn, look, the chat GPTs and things of that of the world, they're becoming more common, and it makes you more efficient in your job to be able to, maybe write a listing description or, maybe write a very thought out email. But Billy, I was an English major. Okay. I like writing my own emails. There are some things that we have in our system that are helpful AI. It's a little bit big brother-ish, where if somebody's poking around in their system and they're looking at their home value and some other things, it actually will pick up if they've had a life event. Maybe they've gotten married, maybe they've gotten divorced, maybe they've had a child, and it will kind of trigger an opportunity to reach out to that person to see if they are looking to make a move. It's an awkward way to reach out. You can't act like you know something that you're not supposed to know. So I feel like it's getting out over its skis in terms of our industry, but that's on the lending side. I think of real estate, it has more applicable functions.
Yeah. So on the my side of it, it's definitely helping people with their searches, right? So I know our system that we use in the YLOPO, if somebody were to put the criteria, I'm looking for these kind of houses, it'll learn some of your patterns and say, listen, you seem to be clicking over in Charlotte Hall. You didn't put down Charlotte Hall, but you clicked over there a few times. Let's send you a few houses and meet the price criteria for you in Charlotte Hall. And it starts kind of sending stuff out there that they may not think they want to see, but their actions show otherwise. And so that's been a great resource. We also have a lot of like follow-up and so forth in regards to information. So I've got lots of things. You and I have even made some videos and things about the home buying process that now just gets automated and gets sent to them, and they get all the information they need. And even when you're on site with houses, right? So I can go through a house now, and whereas we used to walk through and be like, that HVAC looks pretty old, I don't know. Now you can actually use ChatGPT to take a picture of the logo and it tells you not just how old it is, what unit it is, which part of the country is built in, everything about all the units inside of a house. So we're making better educated decisions. I can walk through and say that HVAC's 22 years old. We may have a problem with that. Let's make sure when we make an offer, we have that kind of thing in mind. Or when our inspector comes through, he takes a little extra look at those things. And so that kind of information is helping us make decisions on how to write up offers and do things. So I think with that kind of thing, and I think with the search, and I think with educating our people, those are the AI tools I seem to be using. There's a few more trickier ones that we won't talk about today. Maybe I'll talk to you about later that are a little more behind the scenes and more fun. But those are the ones that I see the most and most helpful at the moment.
I think historically the real estate community has pushed back against the Zestimate and different resources that you can see online in terms of home value. We have a system we call HomeBot, where all my past clients, nobody's ever a past client. You're just a client that you transacted in the past. You're always a current client. HomeBot it pulls from so many more data points, and it's more AI driven, where it can pick up on more locality type of market trends versus the Zillows and the Zestimates. I think because it's so, and realtors will tell you that just don't trust that number because it doesn't pull from the same type of data that a local real estate agent can access. So I think that there are some systems that are getting better even from that point of view, where they can give you a little bit more accurate assessment of the value of your property.
Yep, absolutely true. We're shifting gears because January, February, and I think even some of March, you're probably going to see some more seller concessions. So as you sit down with your people and you get ready for preparing them for a pre-approval, what kind of conversation, how do you explain seller concessions to them?
So I actually went back the last 12 contracts that I've received for purchase transactions dating back to the middle of December-ish. 8 out of 12 received some sort of seller concessions, and a lot of them were hovering in that 3% range. Not many of them, if any of them, were a low ball plus seller concession. Most of them were just, home's been on the market for a couple of weeks, we're going to go in full price and ask for a concession. And I think the sellers have been prepped by their listing agents to say this has now become more common. Expect a buyer to ask for it, or we should offer it in the listing. Of course, not if the home is a hot commodity. The first 2 days you have 15 showings scheduled, then a seller concession might put your offer at the bottom of the pile. But it's very common right now in this market. I will say this, it's the most balanced market I've seen since 2019. That was a good year. It was a nice balanced market between sellers and buyers. And that's what I'm seeing right now. A lot of them getting seller concession.
Yep. Yeah. So I also, we've seen a lot of seller concession. And the wild part is, like, a lot of the buyers don't necessarily need it. They just, their budgets are different now, right? Everything's a little more expensive. So they have that as a safety net. Like, if I know I need to spend 500,000, let's do 500,000 and 15,000 in closing helps. That way I've got a couple bucks together in case something breaks or something happens. Now, when you do that, you also have to keep in mind, if something does come up in the home inspection, that does kind of, not mess with it. It plays a factor in your ability to negotiate repairs. So if you're asking for a full 3%, and as far as the seller concession goes, and then you go ahead and ask for a new HVAC and ask for this and new that, there's a chance they'll push back on it. So you have to kind of decide if the seller concessions are more important to you or repairs are. That doesn't mean you can't get them both, but it's definitely a thing you have to think about and have a discussion with your agent. Like, listen, this is important, but if push comes to shove, then HVAC or whatever needs to be done, we're willing to give on that seller concession because we know where our priorities are. So,
and don't forget, there's a maximum seller concession for different loan programs. I had that recently where they were already getting their maximum. They had a home inspection. They said, "Can we ask for more credit?" I said, "No, you can't. Legally, you cannot ask for more credit." So they had to get the seller to just do the repairs as a part of the transaction when they really just wanted to issue a credit, but they couldn't.
Yeah. Yep. And we could probably go more in depth on that one, but have a conversation with us. We can talk to you more about it. The next topic, actually, I don't know anything about. It came up as far as, like, I keep getting questions about it. And really, honestly, I'm going to leave this one up to you. The 2-1 buy downs, I don't know nearly enough about this, and I'm going to rely on you to explain it a little better.
Okay. So your macro level view of a 2-1 buy down is it's prepaid interest on your behalf as the buyer, where, let's say the market rate is 6.5%. You do a 2-1 buy down paid for by the seller. The seller's prepaying the interest for years 1 and 2. Year 1, your interest rate would be 4.5%, and your monthly payment will be based off of a 4.5% interest rate.
Oh,
Then year
okay.
2, it goes to 5.5%. And then year 3, it goes 6.5 and beyond. So it eases you into your monthly payment. Ideally, in that time frame, maybe rates will improve, and then you can refinance and get your rate lower. And you never actually have to hit that third highest interest rate. I have an example here. If you were to borrow $500,000 as your loan amount, and I'm using as an example 6.99 is that top interest rate to be 6.99 year 3, but year 1 is 4.99. That's $642 for the first 12 months in savings on a $500,000 loan amount. Year 2, it goes to 5.99. That's a $328 a month savings. So it allows you to ease into your mortgage payment if you're somebody that's worried about payment shock or affordability in those first 2 years, or maybe something's going to happen in year 2 or 3. You're going to get a raise. You're going to get a bonus. Your big car note's going to be paid off. Something else is going to happen. Your kid graduate college and you have no longer the tuition expense. That is a strategy that you can utilize and ask the seller to pay for it on your behalf.
Are you doing a lot of these?
They're very popular, especially in the new build community. Builders are offering it. I think I've done probably 5 or 6 in my career. And they're all within the last 2 to 3 years because they really didn't become popular until rates spiked, right? So it's a big conversation piece, but it doesn't come to fruition as often as you think it would. I think also clients would rather just ask for a seller concession, have their closing costs paid, than have the seller pay for the 2-1 buy down. Because here's the thing: the buy down cost is 2.25%. It counts towards your maximum seller contribution. So it's really one or the other: 2-1 buy down or seller paid closing costs. And a lot of times clients are choosing the seller paid closing costs instead.
Okay. And I'm sure you just sit down and crunch numbers with them to see what each of those scenarios looks like, so that way they can make a better decision.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. All right, so let's shift gears. I didn't get to talk, which is good. Hear from you some more. Open houses. So we're seeing tons of open houses. Days on market influences that. So we're seeing a lot of that. Do you do anything specifically to prepare your buyers for open houses and explain it to them at all?
So again, I've said before on these videos that I'm still an in-person meeting guy. I had one at 11 earlier today. I have one at 4:30 later. I still push for that. And in that consult, I will prep them to make sure the moment they know they're going to see a house, whether it's with their agent or an open house or what have you, as soon as they decide they're going to go, send me the address. Because I want, as they're touring it the open house, or as they're doing the private showing with their agent, I want them to know that this house that I'm looking at right now is $32.50 a month, let's say.
Yeah.
And their cash to close is X. So what I tell people is I try to do a round every Thursday, reaching out to pre-approved buyers to say, what are you seeing this weekend? Give me time that I can get you numbers before that, because the worst thing that can happen is 3 o'clock on Saturday, you see the house, offers are due Sunday morning, and you still haven't seen numbers yet. I'll get them to you, but I want them to be pre-digested. It's very important.
That's good. So yeah, the same. So when I sit down with my people, I'm like, hey, listen, open houses are perfectly fine, especially on weekends, especially if you're just trying to feel out what's out there, what's available. When you get there, just be sure you tell the agent who's there on site, like, hey, listen, I'm working with Billy. So that way they know, and they don't try to, there's communications there. They know who's representing them and so forth. I also, a lot of times sellers, hey, listen, I'm going to put my house on the market in June. Great. Why don't you go check out some open houses? See what's going on in your neighborhood, kind of, check on a few, see what's going out there. It's not like you're putting somebody out of a house. That's where I kind of draw the line. Like if you make an appointment and somebody needs to leave their house in order for you to have an appointment, that I'm not okay with as much, because I just find that a little disrespectful. But if it's an open house and the agent's standing there anyway, go in there and check it out. See what kind of features it has. See how it compares to your house. So both buyers and sellers can gather a lot of information from open houses and kind of feel their way out. And it's, it's a great way. Grab some flyers, get her some coffee. Maybe they give you cookies or something like that too. It's always awesome. But there's been more and more open houses because days on market's just higher. And it's a one way for us realtors just to get more bodies through the doors.
Mm-hmm. And a drive-by can do wonders too. Somebody just driving through the neighborhood and driving by a house, it can either qualify or disqualify a property on its own before you have to actually schedule a showing,
Yep, that helps. And if you go through an open house and you're like, hey, I really think this is the one, I want to bring Billy back for a second set of eyes, to kind of go over some things. Because when we look through houses, you look to make sure you like the colors and the layout. And I'm looking through houses like that HVAC's old, that water heater's looking a little iffy. Those shingles are missing. Like we look at things differently. So when we walk through houses, we have two completely different perspectives. I don't really care what the kitchen looks like unless you care. I care that the house is going to stand and be strong, and it's going to be giving you many more years of service. So it's just different.
Yeah. I love that idea of somebody having already seen the house before they bring in the expert. And then that second showing, you bring in somebody that's going to kind of really look at it from a different view. And sometimes people will bring, their dad or what have you, that kind of thinks that they know a house better than their kids would. So I think in the ideal world, like you said, they would have already seen several houses via open house or what have you, that and then you go back with your agent and solidify that, yes, we want to move forward and submit an offer.
All right, so the last question we have is about you. This is your wheelhouse right here, man. How do the Nats look? How are we looking for spring training, sir?
I mean, listen, I think last year they overachieved, and that's crazy to say because they still weren't good, but they were supposed to be historically bad last year, and they won some games that they weren't supposed to be in. They did just trade away their ace. They're still in that rebuild that the Pirates are perpetually in, right?
It's been 20 years of rebuild,
yeah, right. I'm a baseball purist, so I like to see the development like of a James Wood. And I enjoy that, but there's very little expectations for me as a Nats fan as we're in this rebuild phase, because we're not in the Dodgers realm of just spending crazy money to build our roster.
Unlimited
money. Do it through the draft. Yeah.
You know what though? On the plus side, it'll be less expensive to take your kids to a game. You wait a couple of months in, and once the L's slowly pile up, the ticket prices come down, and you get your family out to a game at a discounted price. It's always
the dog days of summer where you look in the outfield and you can just see specks of fans. It's kind of sad. Actually, the topic here is spring training, and I've always said that that's one thing that I would love to do with my kids, is take them to Florida, get away from some cold weather for a weekend, and go see a spring training game, in late February, early March, or whenever it starts. But I need to do that for sure.
My parents are actually, my dad, they're down near Bradenton right now, so he goes and checks the Pirates out. So he goes down and sees a game. We usually go down and visit. My brother goes and visit too, and he usually takes his son. He loves baseball, big baseball player, Micah, and he goes to see a game or two too. They're really close to Fort Myers. The Twins are right there, but then the Pirates are on the corner, and then the Yankees aren't too far away too. So they usually catch a couple games here and there. But the beauty of spring training is you can get really close to the players. Like there's much more access. Like he's gotten to the point where like he's shaking hands, said hi. The players come out sometimes and chat with them, sign autographs. Like the access is much looser in the spring training games.
Agreed. Speaking of my kids, Little League Baseball, we had a meeting the other night. They were doing major league teams. So he was the Orioles last year. They pivoted. Nice. Now they're doing minor league teams. One of the options is the Bay Sox. That would be cool. But then you got the Trash Pandas and the Rubber Ducks, and I don't buy into that. I'd rather see the major league teams. I like that a lot better.
They're such cool names though. Like the Erie team got snagged up by John Oliver. John Oliver, the comedian. Remember? Oh, really? And he did what he did was did a rebrand. He chose one minor league baseball team and rebranded them last year, and it just so happened it was the Erie team, and he changed the name to the Moon Mammoths for like 3 weeks. And they were the Moon Mammoths for like 3 weeks because their name is the Erie Sea Wolves, and there's no wolves and there's no sea. And he's like, that's the dumbest name ever. And so he changed them he wouldn't announce one of the games. Like he was there for a bunch of them. Like it was kind of crazy. I have some Moon Mammoth gear now. I went and got a shirt, and we hung out and got some cool stuff. So I don't mind the minor league names. They're really fun sometimes.
Some of them are good. I like the Richmond Flying Squirrels. I used to have a Flying Squirrels hat in middle school, I think, because I thought it was funny. But I mean, some of them are wacky, some of them are better. We'll see what my son's going to be this year, if he's the Trash Pandas or just a little bit more straightforward Bay Sox, Well,
I hope as well. We'll have to come check out a game, man. All right, so as usual, we appreciate your time and information. If you have questions beyond what we went over today, be sure to reach out. One of us, we're easy to get a hold of. You can find our websites. I think you're at loanswithtim.com.
Loanswithtim.com. There you go.
loanswithtim.com, and I'm at Billy Realtor. So both of us are very easy to get a hold of. We're out and about all over the place. So if you have questions beyond what we went over today, let us know. We'd be happy to help and give you any kind of advice. And I'm always at open houses and other areas. If you wanted to stop by and see me in person, we can show you around a house or answer questions for you too. So, Tim, thanks for your help today, man.
See you again in March. Looking forward to it.
March Madness. Yes.
Your favorite.
That's the one. That's the one.
Love it.
All right, man.